Okay, sorry guys, I had to email myself the picture that I'm trying to do on the tablet. Hold on, let me get this tiger out of the way and get myself set up here. Okay. Let me just grab the photo that I'm trying to do. I had to email it to myself and we're set. Remove my portable charger. If you guys don't have a portable charger, this is amazing. I don't remember where we got it at. I think it was Best Buy. Anyway, that thing will last us for like ever. Hey, Luz. Okay. I got the photo that I'm going to be doing. Let me just wait for a couple people to come in. If anybody's going to come in, we're going to paint a rose today. Katie's here. She's in the house. Okay. Katie, I'm wearing my brand ambassador apron. You can't see it, but I'm super excited. I feel very official. Okay. So I was telling Allison right now that I think I'm going to simultaneously paint two. I kind of want to do one on a sugar stone and on a square. Hi, Kimberly. Okay, let me see. Oh, this is what we're going to be doing today, by the way. So let me get my palette going here. If you guys watched the live last night, I did a palette prep. If you haven't watched the live, you don't know what's going on, just go back and rewatch the first couple minutes. We do a palette prep with laying down all of our colors. I say our like there's multiple people here, but it's just me. Hold on. Oh my god. Okay, I'm trying to straighten it out because it was a little bit curved up at the top there. So the flatter that it lays down against the sponge, the wetter it's going to be. Okay, sorry about the mess. This is just the way I am. I'm a messy, messy painter. Okay, so just a really quick run through what we have. We have our paint palette, the colors that we're going to be using today. So we're going to be doing this rose. Let me just get out of here and go into the actual photo. Let me crop it. Oh, it's fine. Whatever. Okay. So we're going to be working with some reds, some blacks, some greens. So you're going to need red, black, green, yellow, a little bit of orange. If you guys have neons, grab this little bad boy, the red neon, because we're going to use this. If you don't, that's okay. I'll talk you through how to lighten up your rose petals with orange and yellow instead of white so it doesn't turn pink. And this is going to be my recommendation for today. Obviously, if you don't have it, just for future references, this is a red that I'm going to be using. It's the truest, brightest red that I've ever found. It's like $11 for this little bottle, but for me, it was worth it to purchase it because I have never ever found a red that is like as bright and vivid and pigmented as this one is. So I'm just going to put a little bit of it here. See, so this is that golden red, and it's not too far off of a hue from the other one. It's a different brand. It's actually two different names, but this one's just a little bit more orange, so it tends to be a little bit brighter. Okay, hello, Deborah. What is the red called? I don't want to say the name, Kitty, because I don't want to say it wrong. Naphthol Red Light, and this one is Naphthol Crimson. If you have basic, just like a red, that's fine too. I mean, it's totally okay to just use regular red. I have, let's see, what is this? Lipstick Red, Folk Art. You can also use that. Yeah, let's get started on this. Should I do it on a square? Yeah, I'm going to do it on a square. I was going to try to do two at once, but I don't want to. It's just, that's too much. Okay, so we have our square. If you don't have a square, it works just as well. Sugar stone, whatever kind of rock you have. So we're going to talk about looking at your perception around like the area that you're going to be working in. I want my rose to be centered. So I'm going to kind of circle it. I know, very, very lightly draw a circle of where I want my rose to be, just so that I'm futuristically planning the size. Because one of my issues, like yesterday when I did the kitty cat rock, is I didn't futuristically plan. I was just like, yeah, I had planned to do it on a 3-inch, and then I ended up going on a 4-inch. And so this is the rock that I did last night on live. And if I could go back and redo it, I would have sketched my cat way bigger. He would have been like more, taking up more of the rock, and the donut a little bit bigger as well, because then I had all this extra space and I ended up, you know, doing this with it. But it's cute, and I ended up really liking it. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and kind of very lightly sketch the circle where your rose is going to be. You want to leave a little bit of space for the bottom stem. I didn't leave enough space, so okay, let's go back and, because I also want to talk a lot about like how to fix the mistakes. I think that's one thing that, like, as painters, we expect it to go on. It's perfect. Bam. Call it done. No, not for me. I want to show you guys where you want to go if you get mistakes, how to fix them. That's also a big part of learning and of teaching. So see, this is a little bit off center, and I don't like that. Let's go back, erase. That's the beauty of erasers. I'm gonna kind of put my stem here. I'm gonna kind of make it a little bit fat, and then see, it's a little bit too off to the side. Ooh, Diana. Okay. And then we're going to kind of lightly sketch where our rose is going to go. I don't want it to touch the top because I want enough room up here for the last petal. So now that I have my, let's call it a guide, let's start off with doing a for sure sketch of the roundabout, like the roundness of the flower. We're going to use a half circle shape down here at the bottom, kind of like a little very long elongated C. And then from here, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm going to try to teach how to paint a rose the best and easiest and simplest way, so that absolutely anybody of any, sorry, I'm picking my hair up. Anybody of any and all levels of art, whether you're beginning or you're a pro or whatever, make it as easy to follow as possible. So if this is not the way that you would do it, let me just take off my sweater because it's a little bit hot down here. I was freezing last night and now I'm sweating to death. Okay. Hi, Wanda. Hello. So yeah, let me go back and I think it's the music. Let me go turn the music down because I'm getting distracted over there with songs I want to sing along to. That's okay. It gives people a chance to join in if they haven't yet. Okay, so let's see. The top of my rose. I'm going to start with the bottom layers and then build up on top of it. So here we're going to start with a kind of like a teardrop shape. Let's go. You want this bottom petal to be sort of near the top of your guide, not completely. And I'm just going to start with a basic shape of a teardrop. And then from here, we're going to shape and mold it into what we want it to be. So here is my first teardrop. And then I'm going to slowly and go very lightly when you're penciling this sketch in, because you want to be able to erase it without having a heavy, dark pencil eraser mark like that. You don't want it to be all gross and ugly. So try to be as light with your sketch as possible. My suggestion is I kind of hold the pencil like I'm very loosely, you know, about to drop it. I don't want to like concentrate like I'm actually writing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of curve it here. Let's go about mid-center here and curve it just very slightly. Let's erase this little section here. And it's like a nice smooth little teardrop. And then I'm going to actually extend this teardrop out. So from here, this is my beginning point, and I'm going to do a kind of like a dove that's flying away. You know, like the kindergarten birds that we used to draw. That's going to be our shape for the curvature of the petal. I'm going to kind of go down here with a line at the bottom. And that line, I'm going to follow it. And this curve does not have to be perfect because it is going to be where your petal is. So don't freak out if it's not like exactly like mine or it's not an exact shape. Remember last night I talked a lot about don't think too heavy on it. Just go for it. Just do it. Think loosely. Think it's okay. There's nothing too grave that can't be fixed. This is going to be our shading guide right here. Hello, Danielle. Let me grab some coffee. Okay, next, we're going to work on the petal that's over here. So we're going to go about halfway, not really halfway, a little tiny bit below halfway. And let's make a little, you see the end of where my circular light guide is? I don't know if you guys can, right here. Kind of sketched it in. I'm going to try to touch the tippy top of it. Let's meet you down here with the V and the teardrop shape over here. Kind of like a little skinny pear. From here, we're going to go ahead and build up. Let me see the best way to approach this. Here is the end of my teardrop. I'm going to do a half circle. Then I'm going to kind of bring that out just a little bit. And let's curve it down to meet this bottom petal. Erase this little section right here. And let's expand this little area out here and bring it down. Erase the little center line here. And your flower is starting to take shape. So, next. Like I said, I have no idea what the heck I'm doing, so bear with me. We're going to come up here. Let's form like a little cylinder shape here. Kind of like round it out a little bit. And this is going to be your new guide for the top of your flower. I'm going to bring the bottom of this petal down here. Start here. Let's bring it down. Bring it around town. Did anybody grow up watching SpongeBob? That episode was hilarious. Okay, here is the top of my guide, this corner. Let's grab this petal and let's bring it down here, kind of wavy it around. It does not have to be a perfect straight line. Please don't make it a perfect straight line. Let's kind of curve it out. And from here, we're going to do another little curve. Ta-da! See how cute, sweet, short, simple that is. From here, I'm going to actually work on an outside petal. So let's start maybe around the mid, a little bit below the bottom, the top. I can't talk. Let's do a little half circle here. And then pretend like you're going through this petal, or you can, and then just erase it. And let's do a little curve up, slight curve up, round out that edge, bring it down, and meet me somewhere close to the bottom, but not completely touching the bottom of the rose. See how pretty that's starting to take shape there? And then from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do another little, like a cylinder, kind of a little over that top line. There's going to be a lot of erasing, a lot of going back before we get to the fun part, which is the painting. There's the top of my rose. I have this cylinder shape. This is going to be where we're going to shade. And I'm going to just bring this up a little bit like this. Let's do that. I actually kind of want to fatten this out. Let's fatten it out so that it's not so closed up. There you go. Okay, so I made it a little bit wider so that I have the tiny little edges here. Let's bring this out. I'm going to curve it a little bit this way. Let's erase that little mark so that we have our new guideline. And let's kind of draw, no, here. Hold on, I'm losing my place in this rose. Here's the top. Let's bring this down. Let's bring this up. Follow along as best you can. There we go. And so, okay, this one was curving out. We're going to kind of make it a little dip like this. And bring it down. So we're going to go in, erase your little top section here. And then here is going to be our final little petal, just kind of sticking up, saying hello. And this is where we're going to begin. Well, actually, I'm going to curve this in a little bit more, like a little half circle here. Ta-da! Are you guys following along? Are you painting along? Alex, hello. My cousin. That's my cousin, everybody. He's like my brother. I'm an only child, so I grew up with him being my only form of friendship. He was like my first friend. Aw, Alex, you were like my first friend. Here we're going to place one of the leaves down. We're going to put this down like this, do a little swish. That's going to be part of the leaves. So if you guys are following along, painting along, you're like, wow, I just drew a rose, kind of. Did I curve this out? I forgot to curve this out. We're going to curve this out too. Ta-da! Okay. And let's do a follow along here. Follow along the curvature of the rose. And it's starting to slowly take shape. Ta-da! Hey Jen, I'm so glad that you made it. Your first live. I hope you guys are painting along. If you're not, you're just kind of popping in to say hello. Catch the replay. All right, so we got the sketch done. That was the hardest part, right? Now, what we're gonna do, start working it petal by petal until we go in. So I'm gonna grab my paint. I think I'm gonna do what I did yesterday and kind of just paint and move so that I can show you guys what colors I'm using, what colors I'm mixing. I'm gonna grab just a regular paintbrush, nothing too specific. I'm not picky about the paintbrushes that I have or that I use for specific things. I don't have like, oh, I'm gonna use this brush for this. I just kind of grab whatever's around, which is might be my downfall because I know some of you guys need like a specific brush name or size. I'll try the best to my ability to kind of describe the brushes that I'm using. I have a... See, like I use them so much, I've rubbed off the label and the size. This is kind of like a soft little brush. It's got a little bit of an oval shape to it here. It's a little bit flat if I manipulate it with the fingers. It's pretty okay. So it's a smaller brush that I'm going to be using. And let's go in with this first petal here. Okay, are you guys ready to rumble? Here we go. Let's go in with some black. Let's grab some black, put it here in the center. So what I was talking about yesterday, if you guys weren't watching the live yesterday, what I do with my paint palette is I will put the primary colors that I'm using. So like, as you guys can see, I don't have specific like variations of colors because I do a lot of my color mixing in the center, which is why you'll see some different colors here. And what I talked about yesterday was I don't ever just dip my paintbrush into the set. Like, I don't have no paint on my brush right now, but I'm going to dip it in the center. I don't do that. I grab it out from the side so that when I am going to color mix, I'm not mixing, I'm not dipping black into the red or black into the yellow. I'm pulling it away from my primary paint source so that I don't muddy up my paint. I don't waste paint as much. And yeah, that's just what I do. Just a little tip. You can use it, you cannot. Does not matter. I'm going to grab my red and kind of pull that out, and let's mix it in with the black. You don't want too much black because it's going to become this nasty color. We kind of just want like a reddish brown. You can use brown if you don't have black. It's whatever you guys feel more comfortable with. We created the shading guide here. Let's try not to get too lost on the which petal we're working on. I'm going to go in. See, that's too light for me, so I'm going to add more black in. I need it to be like a nice dark color. I'm going to follow in here. Kind of bring it around here to the bottom. And as I'm getting closer to the bottom of this shading guide, I've been using the tip of my brush. I don't know if you guys can see it at an angle here. I've been using the tip of my brush, and now I'm going to kind of press down on the brush just lightly so that it creates less work for me to do. And let's go up. So here's the darkness of the petal. I'm going to kind of rinse my brush off, wipe off the excess here. And I'm going to grab some of that. This is the darker red shade that I have. And my paint is still just a tiny bit wet from the outside. I'm going to place my color down. So here is the lightness of the petal. With the same color that I have on the brush, I'm going to grab that black and red mixture while the paint is wet and start to really blend in that color. Since I am blending a very light color into a dark area, I'm going to wipe off the paint that I have on the brush so that I don't muddy up the lightness that I already have down there. And this is what I was talking about last night as well, is that when you are blending your colors, it's going to take layer upon layer upon layer. It's something that I do as an artist. If you want to go in thick with your paint, then by all means be my guest. This is just the way that I do it. It's the only way that I know how to teach, is just building up on those layers while you blend. It's a lot of wiping technique, a lot of wipe off the excess paint, go back in. So right now my paint is wet. When my paint is wet, and if I'm going to try to keep adding more color, it's going to keep picking up what I just placed it down. And the color is never going to grab. You can see right here in this little area, the wider area, it's going to keep picking up my paint. So I have to wait for this to completely dry in order for me to continue on with my blending. So here, we're going to do the outer portion of the petal. I said if you guys have Wanda's neons, I'm going to use the brighter red color that she has. Well, let me shake it up a little bit. It's been sitting here for a bit. It might be a little bit clogged. Let me get a dotting tool to unclog it. If I can find one. In the meantime, while I'm prepping this, how are you guys today? Talk to me. Tell me about your weekend. What did everybody eat for breakfast? Yesterday we were talking about donuts during the live. I'm just going to kind of move it around here. It might be stuck. Try to unclog it. This is the dried, crusty part, but I still want that because, well, now it's really flowing. Since it's gouache, even the crustiness will reactivate into paint. I unclogged it a little too well. Okay. Katie said she had donuts. I did not get donuts today. Okay. So, this portion of the rose right here that we're going to be doing is a lot lighter than the rest of the colors that we're using. Ham, egg, and cheese croissant. God, that sounds so tasty. Dominican Republic. Oh my God. You didn't invite us? What's up with that, Jen? Okay, I have red. I'm going to try to mix in some red. And I'm going to go, I found the brightest yellow that I have. And I'm going to mix in, oh my God, my kids are completely screaming upstairs. Here we go. Okay, so here we have yellow and red. And that's going to make for a nice lighter color. Like a little peachy red. Make it a little bit brighter. Who is saying that? Hello, Connie. Hello, Dee. Sorry, I'm catching up on comments. Jenny says she had potato salad and Spam. That sounds... I have never had that together. I'm going to have to try that. I know, the kids are upstairs fighting right now. They're super hyper. And we're going to go down right now like this. This is going to end up being blended into this darkness right here. So don't freak out about the harsh line because we're going to blend it all together in the end. So again, if you don't have the neon red, then this is going to be your color mixer. Because if I was to mix in the red with the white to try to make it lighter, it's going to just turn into a pink. And I'm trying to avoid pink on it. This is the best way to lighten it up for me that I found. The brightest yellow that you can find with some red. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to... So that was the example that I'm showing you. Now I'm going to use the color combo that I'm going to use. Just trying to give you guys alternatives. If you don't have the neons, but this is gonna be my go-to combo because it just really like adds the extra brightness to the red. So now that I've done that, I'm gonna go over it, and you see it's really not that much of a difference. It's just a little bit more pigmented is the word. Let's go down here. Okay, this lighter portion is light. I mean, not light, wet right now. So with the same paint, I'm going to grab a little bit of that black. And let's kind of very lightly go along that edge. And try to blend it into the red. I'm wiping off the excess. I know you guys don't see it over here. Maybe I'll just move this over a little bit. Wiping off the excess and trying to blend in that darker color to it. So that it's not such a harsh line. I think I'm going to need a dry brush. Let me grab that. Dry brush just means literally a brush that has no water, no paint on it. So let's try to blend that line out as much as you can. And you're going to do this by rotating off between grabbing the dark and grabbing the light. And just painting on top of each other until you get a nice smooth gradient. See, I keep removing the black. I think I'm just making that line a little bit darker. I'm going to try some water to blend it out. I removed the color off of my brush, and I'm going to lightly grab some water onto my brush, pick up a little bit of the black, water it down a little bit. Let's see if that'll help with the blending. Be right back, having a little bit of a malfunction. Watered down black. Let's pick up the red again and try to go in with that deeper tone and just blend, blend, blend until we get that. All of this work just for one petal. Can you believe that? And then I'm gonna actually grab a little bit of brown. Let's see if that'll help with the blending. It did. Wipe off the excess. Yes, Jen, this is a wet palette. It's something that I wish I had known about when I first started because it would have saved me a tremendous amount of paint. You can find these on Amazon. You can make your own. There are ways to make your own. Just YouTube it. Okay, so it's pretty bright. It's not too much. Let me see. Now I'm gonna try to go on this petal over here. So I'm gonna grab this red with the black mixture. I'm gonna add in a little bit of brown because I kind of like the way that that brown was showing up. Let's grab this. You know what I'm doing is I'm adding too much water to my paints, so it's not picking up anything that I'm trying to put down. Let me just add more paint. It's like a deep, deep, deep red. Just keep adding red. There we go. It's like a nice chocolate red brown. Let's paint this little corner here so that we disassociate it from the other petals. And let's go down here. We're gonna go under this, bring that color down. And I'm gonna stop there. I'm gonna rinse my brush off, and I'm gonna try to work as quickly as I can. Sometimes I get caught up in the talking. But because it is mostly blending on flowers, I'm gonna try to work the colors in as best as I can. So I'm gonna bring that red color out and try to blend the dark red into it. I'm just gonna add a little bit of regular red as well. Kind of even the tone out a little bit. And just keep taking color, adding color, tapping it off. If you guys have questions, now is the time to ask, because I can help you guys with any type of color mixing. If you don't have any of the colors that I'm using, I can help you with color mixing. I can help you with any blending questions that you guys have. That's the great thing about these lives, is it's an opportunity to ask me while I'm here to answer, because sometimes when we respond in text answers, I'm gonna let that dry before I keep going. The text just doesn't come off or explain as well as it would as if I was able to respond right here, right now. Shelly, can you move in with me? We have a spare room. Do you have a spare room? I would move in with you in a heartbeat if I can bring everybody else and the dog. I would love it. I would love it. I wish with all my heart that we lived closer to each other. Are you kidding me? You'd never be in stock, because I would be there taking all the santorinis and all the sugars and just all the rocks. Okay, so it's kind of drying out a little bit. You can see that the water has mostly gone. So I'm going to go in again. Just keep layering with the dark color. Wipe off the excess and go in with your red. And yeah, until you get a nice blend. What you're trying to do is create the lighter petal out on the outside of it. I'm actually going to bring down this darkness a little bit, kind of curve it into the top here. There we go. Okay. And I'm going to go over this again because it was too watered down. I have that issue sometimes since I add water to my paint. Well, I was so used to adding water to my paints for 2 years because I was using paints like the folk art and the deco art, and I'm a very fluid painter, so I was always adding water to my paints, and I got used to that. And now that I have actual fluid paint, I overwater them sometimes. Okay, so we got that out of the way. Next, let's see. we're gonna work on this petal over here. And I'm going to actually start this time mixing in just my solid red color. So let's do that. It's very bright, very vibrant. And that's just one of the tricks that I had done, was I add Wanda neon watercolors to my regular acrylics because it just really gives them that pop. And yes, they are gouaches, and yes, you're going to be adding them to a different medium. Does it change the medium? Not really. It'll make it a little bit more blendable, but it's not a crime to combine the two so that you guys can get the results that you want. Okay. So this is a little bit wet. Keep adding to it. And then I'm gonna do the opposite of what I did here. Here I started with the dark and I went in with the light. Here I'm gonna teach you guys how to do the light and then add in the dark, which is the same thing. I'm going to leave a little bit, just a little slight edge of the rose here. I'm not gonna go all the way to the tip top, and I'm just gonna flatten my brush out and bring it down, brush it down. Let's kind of go up a little bit here with the paint that is already on the rock. Kind of try to smooth it out so it's not a harsh line. Do you see how the blending on this side was a lot easier to try to accomplish than this one? And I talked about that yesterday as well. See, I talk about a lot of stuff in the lives that I think people just don't end up watching or don't learn from, because I understand it's a very, very long live, but that's why it's great to catch it while it's on, so I don't have to keep repeating myself. But I talked about how like when you're shading with animals and stuff, I'm gonna let that dry before I keep going. Okay, I'm working on this tiger rock, right? And so what I did was I started off with my base colors. Have not detailed it. I have not done anything with it. I'm starting off with my base color, and I'm starting off with the light colors first before I go in with the darks. Why? Because it's easier. If I go in with the light color, it's easier to keep adding until it's the darkness that you want. If you go in with a straight dark color, then it's like, oops, it's already dark. It's harder to pull the light out of the darkness. So that's why this petal is coming out a little bit smoother than this one, because I went in with dark first, and then it's hard to kind of bring the lightness out of that dark. Does that make sense? Am I making sense? Am I just mumbling on? Let's blend that in. And try to hold my rock up. See, this area was not yet dry, so that's why it keeps picking up the paint, and it's not a complete dark shade. Anyway, let me work on this little section over here before I get too caught up on that. Use the water that's on my brush to kind of blend that into the red. Okay. Not gonna stress about it. Now I'm gonna go fill this in over here, this little dark area. I don't know why, but like when I'm painting by myself, like something like this, I'd be like, okay, let's do it. Like, let's knock it out in like less than an hour. And then when I'm doing it on live, it takes me so much longer, I guess, because like I get nervous and I'm like, oh my god, if I mess up, like a whole bunch of people are gonna see me mess up, you know. But I gotta stop worrying about that, because I gotta practice what I preach. You just gotta do it. But it's also like I have to stop and explain everything. So I'm gonna go in with this red that I think is like the darker of the two. I'm gonna come down here. Oh, I covered up the brightness of that one. Let's lay down our primary color for this petal. Roses are hard. So if you guys are actually painting along with this and you end up learning absolutely even one thing, then I will call it a success, because roses are hard. I'm gonna grab some black, mix it in with that red, and let's go. Most of this section is actually going to be black. I'm gonna leave a little smidge of the outline here. Let's just press down. Do kind of like a like halfway area here. Okay, I feel like a nail lady. You know how like they go in and they're like very careful, very detailed about where they put your nail polish or your top coat. Shelly, go take care of what you gotta do, girl. I love you. Thank you so much for stopping in. I know that you were super busy today, and I appreciate that you even took the time to hop on, because I know you got a lot going on, and I love you, and I'm sending you so much good vibes and goodness. Here we go. I know a lot of people are like, how can you love Shelly? You've never even met her in person. And I'm like, I don't know, man. This woman has been there for me through a lot. She was all of the admins honestly were kind of like my rock when my husband was like deployed, and they listened to a lot of my sadness and my frustration. So I have a lot of love and respect for each and every one of them. And even before I went through like this deployment with my husband, it was like she's just genuinely a good person. Like for the past 3 years now, she's been a light in my life. She's been the wind beneath my wings. I'm gonna grab a little bit of that orange and kind of brighten this little area up here, because you see I went in a little bit too much with the darkness, and now it's a little bit hard to take that back, just like I said. Let me catch up on some comments. Hello, Pam. I'm glad that you could make it. See, trying to paint on that black area is going to be miserable. So let me just wait for that to dry, and then I'll go in a little bit later. All right, let's go in back up here. We're going to kind of add just a little smidge. I'm very, very lightly going to pat off the paint that I have and kind of just tap in a little bit of the paint right here. I'm going to wet my brush, and I want to do this part quickly before the paint dries. And I'm going to kind of scrub it out. And just use your brush and do like a scrubbing motion here. Oh, see, it's picking up my paint. Why does it keep doing that? Use a little scrubby motion to blend. So far, let's start work on this back area. This back area, I think I'm going to go in mostly heavily with black. I'm going to add just a smidge of red, just a little pinpoint. And let's do that back here. Oh my God, it says that Scott is watching this right now. Scott, I don't know if you're still here, but like, I am a fan of your work. You are an exceptionally talented animal artist. I just wanted you to know that. Here we go. Grab a little bit of red. tap it in, wipe off the excess, tap, 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 tap until you get a nice little blend and it's not just sitting there on the black. Okay. Is it rosemary or rosemary or is it just rose? Tell me so that I say it right. But hello, I'm so happy that you made it. Okay, let's start focusing on this petal now. I'm going to go in again with my light color. Let's grab some of this red and grab some of my orange mixture. Oh, my hand is starting to hurt from holding the stone up. Let me just, here we go. Can you guys see? Let me adjust this. Is that better? Okay, that's better so I don't have to hold a rock because my wrist is starting to hurt. Okay, a little bit more orange. Let's add a little bit yellow. Let's make it like a nice sort of peachy tone. And I am trying to stay away from white. Because if you add in white, it's going to pink it up. And we do not want that. Let me take a little water break. While we're at it, let's base paint this rose too. Let's make it a little bit redder. Add a little bit more red in. Since it's pushed back, this one's a little bit more forward. This one's a little bit more pushed back. So just a slightly darker hue. And just start base painting these petals so that they are prepped. Rosemary. Okay, thank you for explaining that. Yes, rosemary, that's so pretty. Wanda, I'm so nervous that you're watching. I'm like your biggest fan. Let's go in with that orange and yellow mixture again, and let's just do a second top coat here. This one was very opaque. Yeah, I wanted to do this live a little bit earlier today. So you see how because the paint itself is a little bit watery, it's kind of leaving a little bit of streaks. I'm going to leave those because I feel like it's adding a little bit of character to the rose. So my paint was wet, too wet, and it kind of left some streaks, and I really like the way that looks. Okay, too much there. Too much. Let's not get carried away. Allison, how is yours coming along? Are you painting along? I'm so happy that you're here. Okay. Okay. Now, this is, I kind of tilted a little bit to see what is still wet and what is not. This is dry. This is a little bit wet still. So let's go in with this petal and start to darken it up. I'm going to grab a little bit more black and start mixing in some more of that color mixture. I'm almost out of this red. Why didn't I put more down? See that the fluid paints are very, very, very watery as compared to folk art. Let's put a little bit of, I don't even know if this is still good. See how that kind of just is, look at that. It's very, very thick. I personally found that I work best with fluid versus this, but I mean, I'll still definitely try to work with it as much as I can. I'll just kind of mixing in a whole bunch of reds. Don't freak out if you see me playing with the different shades. It's just trying to give options for those who do not have fluids, For those who do have just the basic folk art, like, it's gonna work just the same, baby girl. You can do it. I'm leaving a little bit of the edge of the rose petal. I forgot to say that. I'm going to grab this here. I'm going to just touch down to the center. I'm going to pause, and I'm going to grab a dry brush, a brush that is dry, and blend that color out as best as I can. It's drying too fast. Let me add just a smidge ballpoint of water, and that's it. Let's blend that out. I'm trying to blend those harsh lines out. Do you see that? And then just doing a scrubbing motion, kind of like you're, you know, like coloring very aggressively. And that's kind of how you got to think about painting sometimes. Is just go back to the basics. Coloring with paint. That's too wet. It's picking up the paint. Something I keep messing up on today. I'm going to leave a little bit of the edge. Come down. And I'm just going to come up to about here. I'm not going to go the full way. We're just going to scrub it out. I'm going to add a little smidge of water here. My paints are drying very fast today. I just want to get rid of that harsh line before I go back in. Tap, tap, tap if you want to get rid of a line. And scrub, scrub, scrub. And here we go. We're starting to see a little bit of shape come into this petal. I'm going to add, I'm rinsing off my brush currently. I know you guys can't see it, but we're going to go in with some of the orange and red mixture and kind of try to see. You cannot add light onto dark. It's just not going to happen. And let's scrub that down into that lighter portion. I'm trying to get as much of the paint off as I can, and I'm being very aggressive with the brush. And I'm going to do a scrubby motion around that. I really hate this harsh line. I'm trying to get rid of it as best as I can. Tap, tap, tap. Tap, tap, tap. Using the side of the brush. Get as much paint off as you can. And keep trying to blend that in until you are happy with what you have. I think that's as best as it's gonna get. What do you guys think so far? Okay, so next we're gonna shade this little area here. It's just a lot of shading. That's all roses pretty much are. It's just a bunch of shading. And this, it looks a little bit watered down because this paint is not as pigmented. And that's the color that I'm picking up right now. So you'll definitely see the difference right here. This paint, when you wipe it, you see how it kind of loses some of its color, versus this paint, when you grab it, it's still very much thick. It loses some of its color very thick. And that's just the pigments on it. So that's the reason why I don't really use these too much anymore. But they are a great starter paint. Let's go up here. I went too far down. And we're going to connect to the top of that petal. And shade down. We're gonna come into this V here. I'm just gonna kind of follow the shape of the flower here. I don't want to shade too much over here because this is already disassociated from this petal, and this petal with the lightness over here. So that's how you're breaking up your petals. Light to dark, light to dark, light to dark. And let's go in with some orange. Oh, it's bleeding down here. It wants to be blended. Some orange, some red, a little bit of yellow. Make a nice, bright, cheerful red. Let's tap it in here. I'm going to try to put as much of it down as possible on the darkness. You see, everything I talk about comes to fruition. Wanda is super excited about these techniques. I learn from you all the time, so I'm glad that I was able to teach something. Okay. Are you guys with me so far? How's everybody doing? Keeping up, sort of all right. Now that we're getting kind of closer to the top, the edge, let's start thinking about what we're going to do for the background. Are we going to foil it? Are we going to watercolor it? Do some black ice maybe? Do some, like a really pretty... I have some foils that I found this morning because I sent some... I sent some examples of foil to a friend because she saw my live last night and she had messaged me about it asking, and I was like, oh my god, going through my little tin and I forgot about all of these wonderful foils that I have. So now I'm like on a foil train. So I forgot that I had this pretty gold one. It's like a really pretty lace floral one with like a black background maybe. Or there is this pretty one. I could just leave it like a neutral pink in the back or like a really pretty gold. Or a hollow butterfly. Hold on, am I holding it the right way? Butterflies everywhere. They're so pretty. Or do I do watercolors? Do I do the black ice? What mixed with some red? I don't know. Like, I'm so undecided. So start thinking about what you guys want to do for your background now that we're getting closer to the finish line here up at the tippy top. Okay, let's start base coating our flowers up here. I use a little bit of this neon red from Wanda. And let's do it. Up towards the top is your space is going to start running out. Don't get scared. If you want to use a smaller detail brush, go ahead and do so. Let's see here. This little section is part of this. So we're going to darken it up. I'm actually going to go back in with a the edge of my... Hold on, let me get a detail brush. Where are those? Okay, not so bad. Grab some of the... I'm going to go in just straight with the red neon. If you want to use your yellow, orange, red mixture, go ahead and do that. I'm going to also highlight this outer portion of this layer. Here we go. Grab it and drag it down. And let's lighten up the outer portion of this. It's going to curve around to the top here. And then I'm going to go on with some dark just in this little semicircle. Because we are curving the petal. Honestly, for me, not knowing what the heck I'm doing, I don't think it's coming out too bad. You guys will notice I do that a lot. I'll just wipe off the excess because it's habit. It's just the way I paint. Okay, not so bad. Deborah says black ice. Deborah, I think you're right. I think that's going to end up being the winner. I think it's going to look just stunning with this red. Just like a black background so that it really pops out. And then the black ice just really pretty. So, since we're already deciding that, let's grab the pan. Where is it? Hold on, I just used it yesterday. I literally just had it yesterday. Where is it? Which one of these magical tins has it? Oh, they're right here. I couldn't find my watercolors. Okay, now the question is, do we do the thick black ice or the fine black ice? Let's try a little bit of both. We're gonna just mix it up. It's gonna be like a glitter throw up on here, and I'm gonna love it. So I also have this red glitter from Wanda. We're gonna start to add some water to this. Now that we're planning ahead, we're prepping, we already know what glitters we're going to use. We're gonna activate these and let them sit so that by the time that we're ready to use them, they're good to go. Where's my water dropper? Why is my life a mess? I'm just a messy person, and my husband will be the first one to admit that. Okay. Messy people make the best artists, right? So I got my little water dropper. It's just regular water from the sink. Nothing too fancy. I'm going to add my drops. Gonna get that going. I'm going to set it aside over here so that it just sits and activates. This one, since it's a thicker glitter, I'm going to really just pour it on there. I'm just going to saturate completely because I want it to activate well. That's 3 squeezes. Let's just really go for it. Okay, so this is how much water I'm going to let sit in there. And this one, ta-da, also as well. This one's going to probably soak in the water a lot faster. Okay. And then let's set it off to the side here. Oh my God, honey, don't say that. I'm sorry, Eric is my husband. Jen, yes, you need to get your hands on some black ice. Mom's Day red, yes. We're going to do black and then we're going to do the glitter on top. Okay, so those are over there just chilling, hanging out, waiting for it to activate itself. When did this happen? Oh my God. Okay. So this petal, let's go in with a smaller brush. Where's my brush that I was just using? It's like a piece of rice stuck to my burp rag over here. That's why painting on your kitchen table is always exciting. You never know what kind of food crumbs you'll find. Okay, we're going to go in with that darker black-red mixture and start to shade up here. We're going to touch down where that top lighter portion is. Top lighter portion. And you want to disassociate that petal from the bottom too, so that's why it's going to be darker in that little crevice where it's touching down. And let's blend that up, wiping the excess color off. Just going to kind of tap it in, tap, tap, tap. Oh my God, Rosemary, you went to Spain? That's amazing. Wanda's black ice is back in stock. Oh my God. This is like mega freak out moment. I love it. I need to order one of the little pouches because I have this one and then see, it's starting to activate very nicely. I have another one of those little pans, but I'm always like, I have fear of running out. F-O-R-O. Foro. We're going to go in with that black. And let's create that little shadow over here. Oh my God, I'm using the wrong brush and I didn't even realize it. See, that's okay. It just shows you that any brush can be used. No brush goes unloved. Okay, but Rosemary, you got to talk to us more about this Madrid experience. Like, how long were you there? Did you have, like, what was your favorite food you ate over there? Like, that sounds like so cool. Wanda's link. Wanda, if you're still here, go ahead and link up that black ice. Yes, it's very, yes, her Etsy is at the Foiling Rock Lady. And if it's back in stock, I would definitely get it, because I think you've like sold out completely like 3 times, right? Like it's a very popular watercolor. It was one of my favorites. I went through like 4 of my really big rocks that were like some of my most loved rocks with the black ice, like the orcas and stuff, because it is just a stunning glitter. I cannot express how much I love that black ice. Here we go. We're just blending this little tip here. And we're going to color in this top petal. Let's use some of the orange, red, yellow mix. Bring that in here. If you need to use a detailing brush for this part, be my guest. If not, Judith, I can send you the link afterwards if it's not coming up. I'm gonna go in with my detail brush first, actually. So this is another technique of shading that I'm gonna teach right here, which I do on almost all of my videos, but let me wait for it to completely dry before I go in. And this one I'm gonna grab, my brush is very heavily saturated with clean water. I'm going in with that deep black red mixture. I'm trying to pick up as much of it as I can. I'm gonna dip, very lightly kiss the water with my brush, tap it off, and kind of splotch it down. So the black has made contact with this petal, and we're gonna keep doing that method because it just sucked it back up. But it's a watered down black is the trick to shading as well. So I've talked about several shading techniques now. Dark on light, light on dark, brushing, vigorously tapping it in. Now we're going to talk about watering it in until you blend all the way in. So this was not a rose tutorial, this was a blending tutorial. Just kidding. I just saw the link come up, Wanda, so I think it's good to go now. Hopefully. Okay. So this one, we're going to do the same method, kind of just add a little bit of, let's add water to the actual paint. Maybe that'll work instead. And let's shadow in around this little weird petal sticking out. I'm all nasally today, and I hate when I get like that because I don't know what it is about Colorado, but ever since we moved here, I get super like congested and nasally, and some people say that it's the altitude, and I don't know. I don't know what it is. It's like very moist outside. There's snow on the ground. We just had a snowstorm. Oh, I forgot this little patch over here. I'm gonna go in with that neon red, aka your yellow red mix, and bring the curve of that petal this way. Wipe off the excess. I'm not even going to rinse my brush off because the paint is still wet, so I want to grab it while it's wet. And fill in this little area with some black red. Okay. Let's darken this one up too. And let's darken this little area up too. See, layer, layer, layer. Yeah, I wanted to do this live a little bit earlier tonight or earlier today because tonight I was telling some of you guys last night that it's steak Sundays here. I was like, I don't want to be rushing through my steak to try to get the tutorial going. All right. So this is what we have so far. What are you guys thinking? I'm thinking I'm gonna lighten up this little corner because I can still see my little pencil mark. And again, now is the time to ask me any questions that you guys might have. If you have just regular folk art, deco art, apple barrel paints, and you want color recommendations for mixing, let me know. Let's read Rosemary's comment here. Oh my god, that sounds like so much fun. Like all exotic over there in the 70s. Very different times. I feel like even just now, just saying like, oh yeah, like the 90s were a completely different time than now. And that is for sure true. So, how long have I been live? Almost a little bit over an hour. That sounds like so much fun. So you had told me that you have family in El Paso, right? Because I remember talking to you about that. Let's go in with our stem. So now we're going to transfer over a little bit to our green. And we're going to grab, this green is, let me get a color name for you guys. I put this down yesterday, so I'm not exactly sure. This is Hooker's Green Hue Permanent. It's the only green that I could find in these bottles. But we're gonna do some black. Let's start our little mixing tray over here. Brush out some of the green, mix it in. Ooh, this little handle is a little wobbly. No, I really like this brush, but it's one of the cheaper brushes that I bought. It came in like one of those Walmart packs, but look at it. I really like the shape of the brush. And now it's becoming a little loosey-goosey over here. And come up. There's that nice green. It bled a little into the leaf. That's okay. I'm going to wipe off what I have. I'm going to use just plain green. Go in. Kind of drag the darker green into it a little bit. Slightly tap it in. And then for this outer portion, we're going to grab some yellow. Grab some green. Lining it up with just the yellow. You can add in a little bit of white too, but that's going to turn it a little limey color. And let's blend that in. I've been looking at red hues for so long that I'm like, oh, this green is a little nice. E600 for the brush. Oh, you know what? I actually need to get some of that because number one, I have a bottle of Gorilla Glue that is like completely clogged, so it's useless to me now. Yeah, we need to stock up on E600 because I need it for my little rhinestones. I've been trying to get a little bit more into mixed media. Katie inspired me. And just keep adding color on, blending it in. Let's add just a little bit of yellow by itself and kind of lighten that up on its own. Sometimes I'll do that. Sometimes I'll just add the colors to the rock instead of the palette so that I just blend as I go. Hello, Rose. Thank you for joining. And I'm going to grab a little bit more green, a little bit more yellow, mix it in, make that nice light green yellow shade. Let's paint over here. This is going to be the little outer leaf. Thank you, Bambi. I'm trying. I don't know why, but today I felt very like I'm not so good at my blending, but that's okay. I'm gonna end up going back in here and darkening this up a little bit with a little bit of black, but let me just finish working on these petals and we'll go from there. I'm gonna add some of the darker green here. Kind of give it a nice little shape. Mix, mix, mix. Wipe off the excess. And you'll notice I don't do too much of rinsing my brush. Maybe I should, I'm not sure. I said at the beginning of this video, I have no idea what I'm doing. Who let me teach this? Who let me teach this? I'm just trying to walk y'all through it step by step. I'm gonna grab some of this highlighter yellow neon gouache. It's a little bit dry, so I'm just gonna add a little bit of water and reactivate it. If you don't have that, the best thing that I can suggest is just grabbing some white and blending it into your yellow green mixture here. But I'm gonna grab some of the yellow highlighter and we're gonna outline this leaf here. Let's do another little line here. I'm telling you, I feel like a manicurist, because that's what they'll do, you know, they'll get the acrylic and then they'll do your nail and then they'll just like wipe off the excess. So see, there's artistry in all types of lines of work. Okay, I'm gonna go back over here in the meantime and add a little bit more water to my watercolors. They're activated. I just want to keep them activated in the meantime while I'm doing this so that they're ready to go for my the rest of it. Now let's do this one. I'm going to start off with a light base. It's a very lime color, very neon. Love it. And then I'm going to actually grab a tiny smidge of, brown. And kind of just give it a little bit of like an earthy feel, you know. Do a little bit of lines here. Very, very lightly going in with it. I'm not going in too heavy with the lines. Let's do a little bit of a curvature here and here. Not so bad. And then let's do a I'm gonna grab my green. I want to lighten this dark green up. And let's go in with this petal over here. Ta-da! We're almost at the finish line, guys. Let's go in with this highlighter yellow mix that I had earlier. It's kind of drying out on me now. You can just use the brightest yellow that you have on hand with a green. If you already have a super light green color already in a bottle, perfect. Go ahead and use that. Like I said earlier, I got rid of most of my different color of paint. So now I'm challenging myself by using primary like bold colors and mixing to get the other tones that I want. And it did not stick very well, so let's actually add a little bit of white to that. It's as light as can be. Sorry, that's my husband coming down here, being all loud. He actually, one time he was, he joined in on my live when I first started doing lives in Shelly's group. And I was so nervous that I completely kept messing up after he joined. And once I got off the live, I was like, why are you watching me? You make me so nervous. And so he has not watched me on live since that day. And now that I have gained a little bit more confidence and I'm not like so camera shy, I'm like trying to get him to watch me, but he's like, no, you get mad. He's very, very supportive though. Grabbing some of the dark and going in here. Okay, now we're going to add a little bit of black shading here towards the bottom so that it's not just like blah, a rose and a stem. You know, we're gonna kind of deepen that line where it meets the stem and the flowers. So let's go down here with some black. Let's do a little semi-triangle here to kind of curve it into the leaves. I'm gonna rinse my brush and, excuse me, wipe off the excess. And I was gonna use the paint that was on the rock, but it already dried. Grabbing some black, I'm gonna further deepen in this line. Wipe off the excess. Use the paint that is on the rock to spread it up and out. And use your brush, use water that is left on your brush to manipulate the dark out. And I'm missing a little petal here, so let's go back and do that. I'm actually going to grab this light mixture. It's gonna come up here. Let's just go with green. A heavy, heavy green. And then we'll work from there. Grab some of your black. We're gonna come up here. Use the paint that's on the rock to brush it out. Blend it into that red very, very lightly. I have my hand resting here like this, and I'm trying to control the pressure that I'm putting on the brush by very lightly keeping it off the rock. And I'm trying to hold my brush as lightly as I possibly can. So yeah. Hold on, I'm reading Rosemary's comment. Aw, that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that with me. That's awesome. Yeah, my grandma also came from Chihuahua. And she ended up in El Paso, and then they kind of just never left. I didn't leave until I met my husband, and lo and behold, here we are. 3 states and 3 kids and a dog later. Let's add in a little bit of the white highlighter color. And go in the edge here. And I'm actually going to use a little bit of light brown. I had a light brown mixture from last night, which is this color. It's still wet from last night, as you can see. That's why I love these wet palettes. If you don't have like a creamy caramel color, use brown. What did I do to mix this? I used brown. I grabbed some yellow. And then I grabbed some white. I think I used a smidge of orange. And I just kept adding brown and white until I was happy with the color that I had. A little bit more brown. A little bit more orange. Nice little caramel looking color. Or skin tone color, actually. And I'm gonna just kind of tap in a little bit here. Honestly, that part was not even important. Like, you don't really need this part. I'm trying to give it a different color other than the green. Okay. And let's finish off differentiating these flowers by curving this little petal here and going down. Okay, now let's, I wish I could just like whoosh, it's painted black, ta-da. We're going to go in with black around it. You can take your time with it. This is usually how I paint. I'll paint my subject first, and then I will put the background in afterwards. It's just easier for me, because if not, then I would have had to paint this rose on top of black, and that would have been a much harder thing to teach. It's doable. It's very doable. I feel like this is a lot easier. You can go in with your detail brush. I said don't get too hung up on the details. It's gonna be beautiful whatever way you do it. I hope this is sort of beautiful. Okay. Oh my god, I have to show you guys. Well, I don't know if I can show you guys. I'm pretty sure that I can. I got this little Lazy Susan from Dana, one of our admins, and I just need to coat it with resin, but it's gonna make my life so much easier because I'll be able to like use it instead of having to turn my rock. I can just turn Lazy Susan. Super excited to use it. Let me see. Try to go as close to the edge as you can. Try to get the outline in first, and then it's easy to just kind of fill in the rest. Ta-da! Oh yeah, that black really made it pop. Your saga, it's good. It's good to get to know people and their life story, because you really, you see all of these strangers online, and isn't it crazy how we're all just kind of connected through this crazy thing called painting rocks? And that's how it starts. That's how friendships begin, is you just start to know a little bit more and a little bit more about each other. And then before you know it, you've been here for 3 years making friends. I have met some wonderful, wonderful, wonderful people through rock painting, through Shelly's group mostly, honestly. She's done a very, very good job. Her and Katie have done an excellent job of trying to keep it as positive and peaceful and just like that place where I can go to get some like solace in a crazy world that we live in. Yes, Rebecca, you need one, because let me tell you, girl, it's a great palette to use. The coverage on the fluid acrylics, I love them. They're very, very pigmented. It's usually just the yellow that I have issues with. That's why this was kind of a little loopy at the beginning, and it took me several layers, but for the most part, they're very, very pigmented. At least this brand is. I I've only been able to find it at Michael's. But they do have golden also. And golden is extremely pigmented. Like that will stain. This is part of the blue and it will stain you. Hello, Kathy. The Niner game. Wow. I forget that football like is still happening, honestly, because I don't watch like sports a lot. And usually when my husband is watching sports, I'm like downstairs painting. Oh, yeah, paint is great. I honestly like I've never really been a paint like a paint marker type of person. I'll only use them for like lettering or if I'm, when we go to the lake in the summer and we go fishing as a family, like I'll take my rocks and my paint pens and that's when it comes in handy. A hair dryer, I actually have a heat gun that I usually use to dry this off. But I didn't want to be all like loud. I think my youngest is napping right now. That's why it's so quiet upstairs. He finally went down. Probably. My youngest is a year and August, September, October, November, December, January. About a year and 5 months, and he's very much my oldest, Carter. He used to nap like 2-3 times a day, but my youngest very rarely takes like more than an hour nap. So I'm struggling because I guess like I was so used to having kids that loved to nap because my daughter also used to take like 2 to 3 naps a day and my youngest just does not, man. So we try to take advantage as much as we can when he is down. Yeah, it's weird. It's weird how each kid is so like different. Like my younger two, I breastfed them and then after that they just went straight to water. Like they never really liked milk, like whole milk. Never really drank it. They mostly just drank water. And my youngest, like after I stopped breastfeeding him, he completely just is on milk. Like he loves milk. He does not, he'll drink some water, but it's not as much as the other two. And I'm like, I don't know. It's crazy how different they all are. Okay, this is almost dry. I missed a little spot here. Okay, now that I have black on my brush, I'm going to try to deepen the darkness on these crevices here. Never mind, just kidding. I just heard him scream. He is awake, guys. They're probably fighting upstairs. Okay, let's bring this out. I'm just darkening it up with a little bit of black and just the water that's on my brush. Gonna keep wiping off the excess paint and blending up. I just wanted to really like make each level of petal pop. So here we're gonna do this. See, this is why I don't go live a lot, because you just never know when chaos is just gonna pop off and my kids are gonna fight or scream in the back. So that's why my husband takes them upstairs, so that you can't hear them as bad. There's always something happening in this house. Always. Okay, and kind of darken this one up too. This is just the time to touch up on your petals. Give you guys time to catch up on the background. Darken up any dark areas. Just touching up. Okay. Not so bad, right? Yeah, my oldest two don't like milk at all. the black ice, I'm honestly, I can't remember how much it is, but I think that the link was shared up earlier. We actually are getting ready to do it. Do you guys remember? I don't know if you guys remember, but I did the Queen of Hearts when I was doing the Disney ABC series a little bit ago. And I did the Queen of Hearts. That background was black ice mixed with a tiny smidge of red, and I'll show you guys how to do that. Yeah, that's Mateo. He is a little fireball. He's the youngest, but he's a little bully sometimes. He like beats up on the older two. My kids are honestly all really good kids, like really, really good kids, but man, when they fight, they fight. Okay, this is sort of semi-done. So, let's go over black ice and how to use it. I don't know, should I do the thick one or the thin one? I'm kind of feeling the thin one, but I'm also feeling the thick one. I don't know, I'm so indecisive. I'm going to grab a flatter brush. I mean, this is kind of like I would count it as an ugly brush because it's got like the bristles are frayed. They're not like, it's not like the smoothest brush. So I'm gonna grab kind of like I wouldn't call it an ugly brush. I guess it's just a brush that's been heavily used. Okay. I know, I remember when I was pregnant with him too, I felt like I was pregnant forever, right? Like I was just pregnant or breastfeeding for the past like 6 years of my life. I'm gonna scoop it up. Let's lay it down and use your brush to manipulate out the glitter. If you don't have this glitter, then what you can do is immediately go buy some. Just kidding. What you can do is you can use any type of glitter that you guys have on hand. If you don't want to put glitter on it, and if you want to just leave your rose matte black, then, you know, that's also cool too. It was really pretty without it. It's really up to you guys what you want to do with your background. If you want to foil it, be my guest. I was going to foil it, but my little flashlight that came in my starter kit actually broke. Katie is sending me a new one. Thank you, Katie. And I was using the UV lamp, but that's like way too strong for it. So I'm going to just wait to get my flashlight so that I can properly do it. And we'll just watercolor it. If you have a different watercolor, my color suggestions, like if you want to use maybe the Sherberts, or if you want to use, I'm trying to think of like the Halloween. The Halloween has a really pretty red set. You can also use that. My color suggestions for the back would be something a little bit on the darker side, just so that the rose can really stand out and pop up. Get this little piece out. I'm going to use a thinner brush over here for this little section. Okay, let's put this piece here. And just a little smidge here. Oh my god, it's like trying to run away. Just let me use you. Okay. It's trying to run away over here. How's everybody doing? Is it coming along okay? Are you guys painting along or kind of just dropping in a chit chat? Okay. So here we go. So I've talked about using the chunky watercolors a ton. I've talked about different techniques to use them. I don't really want to be repetitive for those that keep watching my videos. But we're just scooping it out, placing it down, and manipulating it out to smooth it out with the brush. Okay. Catch up on some comments. The thin one, I know it's so pretty, man. I used this one on my rooster rock and it was just gorgeous. Danielle the dragonfly Dragonfly glaze is good too. I think they have a red one, one that like shifts from red to like orange. That one's a really good one too. Okay, so we're gonna just kind of wait for this to dry out. I'm gonna sneak a little bit of this finer one also in there. Look at how pretty that is. It's like, I can't get the camera to focus. It's just like so therapeutic to watch, right? Okay, grab a little glob of it. Let's put some down. You can never have too much glitter, so I say. You're just gonna be doing watercolor on top of watercolor. And my best advice for doing that is just kind of glob it on and let it spread out with the water that's already there. That is what I do. I am not a pro. I want to reiterate that. I am not a pro. This is just me sharing my methods and ways that I paint with you guys. Having a fun Sunday fun day. See, we ended up using both of the black ices. Do I look through my... I do. I'm looking through it right now. Okay, so I'll take a picture of it, but I have this phone holder that clamps to my table, and it reaches over and it holds my phone for me. And so I'm literally looking... Well, actually, no. I move off to the side when I'm painting, so I don't paint through my phone. Does that make sense? Like, I have you guys off to the side a little bit, and I'm looking at my rock when I am doing my painting. And then I'm going to grab some of this red, too. Kind of splotch it in. Little drops here and there. And the water, I'm going to add water to it, and it'll just nicely... Excuse me, I'm super nasally today. It'll nicely just kind of spread out on its own if you kind of just tap it in a little bit. This is what I did with my Queen of Hearts background. Added some red. God, my kids are just like really going at it today. Here we go. I'm going to grab some water onto my brush and just kind of add it on there. And with the water, it'll spread out by itself. And then, wait, there's more. If you really want to make it like super mega red. Oh my God, did you see that? My brush just tried to like do a whole escape. Goodness, it like just jumped into my paint. Yeah, the red and the black ice is really pretty. Just wait till it dries. It's going to be like even prettier. I'm going to grab some of the red from the Halloween set. Somewhere over here. Hold on. I have been mixing up my paints into different tins that don't belong to the same set. So now I'm constantly like looking for the colors. Dang. Here it is. Ta-da! This is the red from the Halloween set. We can use that. Let's actually use a little bit of... I want to use like a shimmer orange. Or this is from the unicorn shimmer. Is this the purple or is this the red? This is the red. This is the red from the unicorn shimmer. Maybe even some sherbets. No, let's not get too crazy. See, this is what happens every time that I'm like around Wanda's watercolors. I'm like, I want to use this one and this one and this one and this one, and then I just end up overdoing it. That's just the way the cookie crumbles. Okay, let's add some. These don't have to be sitting for too long to be activated. Honestly, they're pretty quick. Let's put this aside. And let's mix a little bit of this red in. What you can do is you can actually just kind of highlight where that top. Oh my god, I should have waited till that was dry. That's okay, I'll just show you guys quickly. Kind of highlight here. Just, I don't even know. Just place highlights randomly throughout the piece. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a dry brush and squash it out. Squash it out into the petal. This way it'll give it kind of like a little bit of a nice shimmer throughout, but not like overdoing it. Or I think I'm not overdoing it. I probably am, but I can't help myself. I use these religiously on all of my work. Not really placing with any type of thought to it. Just kind of, I think that's why I love these so much, is they don't give me a chance to like think. I kind of just do. Just saying, oh, I think this will go good here and there, and then bam, it ends up being everywhere. Okay, let me try this one. I think it might be too bright, but we're about to find out. Yeah, okay, it's a little bit too bright for the petal. Okay, that's okay. It's good enough with just that. Okay. I really want to dry this up so that you guys can see it like once it's dry. And since I know that my son is not napping currently, let's do that. If you guys have dogs or kids that are napping, turn off the sound now so that I can blow dry this. I'm very impatient. Okay. It's not completely dry, but it's good enough for me. So let's show you guys. This is our final product. It is just, the glitter just, like, I don't even have words for it. And then once I seal it, it's gonna be like, bam. I could just do this all day. Does anybody else just do that with their rocks? Just kind of like stare at the bling all day? This is what I do. Sometimes, like, I'll sit with my rocks and I'll just, like, I don't know. I like staring at my own work. Okay, so that's it. We did it. We did it. If you guys painted along, please post your rocks. I love seeing what you guys are creating. If you did something different with the background, please show me. I would love to see everybody's brain and their creativity and how it works. If you guys learned anything, let me know, because everything that you guys give me as like feedback, I try to use it for the next time. I had an excellent live yesterday. We painted this cat. We used Wanda's neons, and we also used this heart foil, which is like that. It still trips me out. I have been staring at this rock too. If you haven't seen it, go ahead and check out the playback. We did this step by step all the way from beginning to end. So that's the rock we did yesterday. Had an excellent live yesterday, which is why everybody motivated me today to do this one. Yeah, maybe we'll make this like a little weekend date type of thing. Okay, well, you still have to share it. Is it Marge or Margie? I don't want to say your name wrong because I am very like particular about that, because like sometimes people call me Diane, and I don't know why, but I don't like being called Diane because I have an A at the end of my name, so I'm like Diana. Like I really like, I really like to get people's names right. So let me know, is it Marge or is it Margie? I want to pronounce it right. Just like Rosemary just told me that her name is Rosemary. Let me know what you guys think. If you painted along, share your work. Allison's almost done. Yay. Playback will be available, and yeah, we'll see what shenanigans we get into for the next life. Yeah. All right. So thank you guys for watching. I'm about to post the playback and post the final rock. We'll see you guys later.